Most agents think that growth means adding more lead sources, more systems, and more hustle. But what if your next level comes from letting something go? Today is all about addition by subtraction. What do you need to release in order to move forward? I'm your host, Dill Ward. I'm an icon agent and team leader with eXp Realty in Portland, Oregon. After nearly 2 decades in real estate, I believe this business can be so much more than just transactions. It can be a path to growth, purpose, and life that you are excited to build. That's kind of why I created this series, Agent Inspired, so that we could explore all the ways to create more purpose in this real estate, in this crazy real estate business. The series was designed to shift the way that you show up in your business so you can lead with purpose, create lasting impact, and quite frankly, bring more joy into every single day. Because any any day worth living is a day worth just having more presence, more purpose. And that's kind of why I created this series. But before we dive in, I wanted to ground today's conversation in a theme that feels especially fitting. We're going to look at 5 key areas where letting go actually creates room for more. Now, these aren't big dramatic changes, but small intentional shifts that can have a real impact on how your business and how your day feels. Number one, and this one is like you just never get done. It's like you never get done at the gym. You never get done. Number one, letting go of time wasters. Now, most agents confuse being busy with being productive. We fill our days with tasks that feel responsible, but don't actually create income or momentum. And let me kind of break this down for you. What it looks like in real life is spending hours perfecting a graphic instead of making follow-up calls. Gosh, I feel like it was yesterday that I was brand new in this business. I had a cubicle. I remember being so excited to have a cubicle. I had a little place to pin things on the little board. And I remember I would go into the office, I'd have a cute outfit, I'd be ready for the day, I'd sit down at my desk, and I would spend the entire day sorting and sifting paper, going to the copy machine, copying things, making folders, getting ready to get ready, getting organized. But man, that first year was lean in terms of income because it was just always those kinds of things were way more fun than making the actual follow-up calls. Another example is when you rewrite an email over and over instead of actually sending it. Now, I know that AI and all the other technologies that have come along that are right in our email thing can make it easier for us. But for a lot of us, it still makes it complicated because now you're like, here's 5 different ways I could send this email. And then it never actually gets sent. Driving across town for a meeting that could have been a Zoom. I think I'm getting a lot better at this one because Zoom is so easy. You can just click a button and be on it. But we should all be thinking, how can you maximize our time? Holding on to admin tasks because no one can do it like I do it. One of my coaches was like, hey, you should do the math on your cost per your dollars per hour, right? This is a very common thing spoke in the business development world is what's your dollars per hour when you look at your income for the year and you divide it by the amount of time you're working, et cetera. And then every time you're taking out the trash or filing things on your computer, like that's just time wasted. It's just gone from your productivity. So there's just infinite ways that time can be wasted, and it's your only non-renewable asset. Every minute spent on low impact work is a minute taken away from dollar productive activities like conversations, appointments, and follow up. I was just coaching my team yesterday and I said, guys, everything is getting ready to get ready to get ready to talk to someone. If you're not talking to anyone today, you haven't actually moved the needle forward. And I'm going to challenge my more experienced agents out there who might be listening to this to say, who are you not talking to that you know would move your business in another direction? Because sometimes we're so busy talking to the same people just to kind of maintain status quo, but we're not getting challenged to be uncomfortable to make those calls that are going to they're going to put us on edge a little bit because the opportunity is bigger and it feels like higher stakes. So I'm going to challenge you. So from brand new agent, if you're still just trying to get yourself to do the basic tasks that are going to move the needle forward in having a real estate business, or you've been in the business a long time and you're just kind of stagnant and you need to accelerate the progress and the growth in your life, it's because you're doing time waster things and not getting yourself challenged at the edge of the cliff, making scary calls to people. Okay, so what do we need to let go of? We need to let go of needing to control everything, the comfort of busy work, old routines that no longer serve our current goals. I'm going to out myself a little bit here. So, when the new year comes, you get that energy around, like, I got to shift some things. Well, I've been feeling this, I don't know, for a couple months now. I've been feeling like I want to make some big changes, but I didn't necessarily know what they were. And one of the patterns that I have that I recognize inside myself is often when I want to make any change, I almost always want to move. I mean, maybe that's how I ended up in real estate and why I stayed in it for so long, because I just personally want to move. Well, my husband and I have moved 12 times in 10 years with great intention. We intentionally picked every home that we lived in, and we didn't just temporarily live in the house, even though we knew we'd only stay maybe a year. We decked it out with the right furnitures and the art and just got it perfect and cozy. And then, I'd want to make a change again. And then I'd see something else I wanted to pursue. And luckily my husband's been very accommodating and he's always just like, yeah, let's do it. But now we're in a home that we've put a lot of investment in. We've remodeled it and customized and all these things, and it's perfect location to our office and our kids' school. So my go-to when I want to make a change is not available. I'm like, because he's not going to move. I'm not going to be able to talk him into moving for a while, at least until our kid gets out of school, probably. But so I'm like, oh my gosh, my go-to is move, and I can move. So I'm like, oh, what other changes can I make? So I've been feeling all this internal stuff, and I realized, because moving has always been a great distraction. I mean, let's be honest, it uproots everything in your life. And then you have the opportunity to be busied up trying to figure every single thing out. Um, I realized, having to sit with it, going, no, we're not moving. Uh, the changes I really needed to make were in my personal habits. And that's the hardest ones. That's the ones that you just don't really want to think about. How early are you going to bed? How many times are you going to the gym? What are what are you doing for downtime and decompression time to allow yourself to de-stress? Are you just scrolling and being in the doom world? This sucks. I hate being personally responsible for my own outcomes and my own reality, but without being able to just be like, let's start looking at houses again. I have really looked really hard at myself and given myself permission to see what micro changes can lead to bigger changes. And I'm proud to say that I'm on the track. I figured out some things I'm willing to commit to and I'm starting to do, but it took slowing down, thinking about it, getting intentional. And that's what this whole episode is about and why I'm giving it to you, because I'm sure I'm not the only one. I'm sure everyone could use to hear a little bit of this about this topic. So I was going to say, early in my career, I wore the badge of busy like it was a badge of honor. Busy meant like, people need me, I'm doing things. I was actually just talking to another seasoned agent yesterday, and we talked about how when we first started, which was decades ago, God, we were just run ragged. We would do anything. We would drive to any house, any direction, to go look at it, to go help another agent, or help any kind of not even a prospect, but what's a getting ready to be a prospect, whatever that is. Like, I just remember being just doing the grunt work, doing anything to get into this business. And we were talking about, that's just not what we see people do today. Today we're like, oh, they made a couple videos or they did this or that, but they're just not willing to grind it out and get uncomfortable and go to whatever length. And but I realized, I don't know if that was what led me to be successful. I just know that I felt that was the only way to validate that I was in the business, was like, I'm so busy. you know? And I think that energy can be really hard to shake off once you sort of see it as your credibility of being so busy. I made a note to myself here in my reflection. I was like, gosh, my days were so full, my calendar was packed, I felt productive, but my results didn't always match that effort. I mostly didn't have much to show for what I did, except for feeling confident that I was in motion to getting to where I want to go. But, you know, working all week and having no pay for it is a hard pill to swallow over and over and over, until I realized everything I was doing wasn't leading me to the outcomes I wanted, because I wasn't doing the actual thing. Spoiler alert, talking to people, directly communicating and talking to people, having conversations that would actually move your business forward. Because literally, that is the only thing you should be measuring in the business to determine what your income will be. Okay, number 2, letting go of limiting beliefs. Now, anyone who's in the personal growth space knows that limiting beliefs is just an ongoing topic all the time. And I really appreciate about my family and my team and my inner friend group that we all have given each other permission to call each other out. Just, I think this is really great. I encourage everyone to set this stage for their community around them, to allow them to both sides. You call them out, they call you out. When you say something that is just clearly a limiting belief, and not letting it just lie there. I think that was something when I was growing up. Limiting beliefs were bestowed upon you, and then you just had to sit there with them, whether you believed it or not. There was no challenge to it. It was just, no, you can't have that, or people like us, or all those kind of comments where you're like, huh, oh, okay, and you just had to accept it. But now I'm living in an environment I've created for myself, where we say, wait a minute, I want to challenge you right here, because I think this could be just a belief, right? And how powerful is it to just allow yourself to go, is it? Am I just saying that out of old programming, or where is that coming from? Is that my truth? Is that my heart? Limiting beliefs are sneaky. They sound logical. They sound like facts, but most of the time they're outdated conclusions based on past experiences. For example, the market is so hard. The market's impossible. Buyers won't pay me enough to do this. I'm not confident enough to go after higher end clients. That's when I see all the time agents who just can't get in alignment with thinking they can be of a certain price point. I need more training before I put myself out there. That is when a lot of people get stuck in this. And I would say a lot of people who are more academically inclined want to go get another certification for another certification for another certification, to have someone else bless and say that they're ready to go, ready to step into the ring. And that's such a limiting belief, because you'll actually learn more in the trenches than you will in the books, right? So that one can easily get in the way. And here's why this matters. Your beliefs directly impact your actions. If you believe something is hard, you stop trying consistently. If you believe you're not ready, you will delay opportunities as they come. And there was a point when I told myself I wasn't ready for a certain kind of opportunity. And every step of the journey, from taking on more sophisticated clients to leading a team, nobody is ready to land into leadership. There's no like, well, you're officially ready to be a leader. No, if you're listening to this out there and you're trying to figure out what your next level is, what your next version of yourself is, nobody's coming to tell you, yes, this is the time to step into the ring. You have to brave yourself into it. And it's going to be messy. I mean, that's the reality of growth. You just have to be uncomfortable. You have to be comfortable with the uncomfortable, that you have to get used to it and grow into it. And I was talking to my team yesterday, and we said, if we build this team together for the team that we want, rather than where we are in this moment, then it will all come true. But if we get stopped by being frustrated that it's not it yet, then it will dissolve. It will be nothing. Right. And I think that I remember so many times in my life where, when the tension was on of uncomfortableness, where I just, it's not what I want yet, I don't like it. My impulse would be to run. My impulse would be to just forget it. That's a bad idea. Why would I even think about that? Limiting beliefs will layer you up with why you should not be doing the thing that you're trying to do when it's uncomfortable, and you'll literally get in your own way. I mean, that's life in a nutshell right there. Um, okay. So I could go on about this because I just feel like this is the one area of letting go. And the theme today's theme of letting go is I'm going to challenge you to say, how many times can you catch yourself today having a limiting belief? Whether it's your personal health, your wealth, your relationships, your business opportunities, what you're ready for. I bet it's all day long, guys. I bet you walk to the refrigerator and you go to eat something, and then you have some limiting belief about your own body and your own feelings and how you're supposed to feel and how you're not supposed to feel. And instead of just asking yourself, is that really true? Is that a fact? Or is that just a conclusion based on it, based on old outcomes? Because that's probably more like it. Okay. And I'm just going to end this part with this. Most of the ceilings in our business are self-installed. That's what I love about real estate, right? There's nobody saying this is the height where you can take it. The freedom to grow yourself to any level, to develop your capabilities to any level without anybody telling you you can or can't is pretty incredible. And I think it's why so many people want to try real estate, because it seems like it could be this incredible freedom. But we know in order to have that freedom is a great sacrifice. And that sacrifice is being uncomfortable every single day, which is why we're still here somehow. Okay, number 3, letting go of people pleasing. I bet we all got just a little bit of this in us because we're sales professionals and we're service orientated, and it's really hard to stop trying to please everyone all the time. But real estate generally attracts helpers, problem solvers, yes people, but people pleasing often leads to burnout, resentment, and lower profitability. And this is what it looks like in real life. Answering texts late night when really nothing is urgent, and discounting your commission to avoid the uncomfortable conversation and the tension of proving the value, taking on clients who show early red flags that they're going to be a little bit special to handle, and apologizing for your boundaries. That is all classic people pleasing. When you overgive, you undercut your value. Clients actually respect clarity and confidence more than constant availability. I've had to learn this the hard way, maybe many times over. I bet I'm always learning this, to be honest. But I find that the most highly regarded professionals are pointed laser diagnosers, right? You get in to see them, you've been waiting for them, you talk with them and you tell them your situation and what you want. And then they just kind of, bam, here's what you got to do. And with that clarity and confidence. And then you're just like, oh, thank you. It like bestows so much authority upon them when they're kind of hard to get in with. Now, I'm not saying be hard to reach for your clients, because I don't see how that's going to work. But at the end of the day, letting them see that you will make yourself available to them when you can is important in that trust building part of the relationship. But also, if you're just always on call like a dog leash, they're not really going to respect you that much. And you're going to get burnout, and you're going to have misaligned boundaries. And then you're going to start questioning all your own boundaries. That's not good. Okay, number 4, letting go of comparison. Oh, this one's so hard. Comparison is one of the fastest ways to drain your confidence and your consistency, especially in an industry where wins are public and struggles are private. What this looks like is watching another agent's success and questioning your own, jumping between strategies because someone else's looks better than yours, feeling behind because you're not where someone else is. And why this matters is comparison will pull you out of your lane. Instead of refining what works for you, you constantly reset, going, oh, I should try this. Oh, I should try that. Oh, I should try that. And then you lose the momentum that you created. So all of your effort is kind of going into the drain because you're seeing what someone else is doing and you're thinking, that's what I need to do. So here's the remedy, what to let go of: measuring your chapter number 1 against someone else's chapter number 10. Assuming social media equals reality. Oh man, me and this agent that I was talking to, yesterday. She's been in the business a long time. She makes a lot of videos, super productive, super energetic. And we were both talking about, man, you could just watch someone else do something and feel so defeated in your own effort because you're like, oh, they're cooler than me, or their edits are better, or their house, their listing is better. And it really will take you out. You got to check yourself. This is self-regulated. Check yourself, because if you find yourself draining energy from looking at what someone else is doing, especially when it's so much smoke and mirrors, a lot of people have a lot of time to do fancy editing because they're not selling any houses yet. And that's okay. We don't need to have any judgment about them, but you're only as good as you were yesterday times whatever better you want to be today. You're your only competition. So letting yourself get into comparison is an energy drain, and you need to let go of it in 2026. So can you challenge yourself today? Check yourself when you find yourself getting into comparison. Call it out, call yourself out and say, ooh, not going to do that anymore. Okay, number 5, letting go of old versions of yourself. Now, this one I love because a big part of my business is always helping other people imagine what the next version of themselves looks like in their new home, when they have the space they need, when they have the commute or they're close to the family. I love being the curator of other people's dreams and helping vision cast for them where that's all going. But I do sometimes have a little challenge looking back at my own self and allowing myself to have an identity shift. And that's what's so cool about life is your identity is up to you. It's in your head. Now, other people perceive you how they want to perceive you. But again, getting into the habits around who you want to be. I remember when I really held tight onto this, like, I am not a morning person. Do not ask me to do anything before noon. I was a night owl. I love late night programming and late night reading and writing and doing all the things that when it's quiet, no one's bugging you. But that all had to change when I had a kid and I had to I had to get her to school and stuff. So I remember going, this is gonna be tough because this is totally breaking my identity right now. But guess what? I did it and it changed and it happened. And now I'm like, oh, I love the mornings. Now I'm a morning person. Like, I don't know how these identity shifts fully take root, but it does require you to first identify it, start creating the habits around it, removing the limiting beliefs, and get into motion. But here's what I do know. The version of you that got you to right where you are this moment on this day in your life and business, I can pretty much guarantee will not be the version that will get you to where you want to go next. Let that one sit in. You gotta make some big changes. You know what they are. You gotta make some big changes to shift even a little bit into a different version of your life that you're really going to enjoy, that's really going to fulfill you, that's really going to be profitable, that's really going to have impact. But it's going to take identifying them and going after them. And what this looks like in real life, still operating like a brand new agent, even though if you're years into the business, wearing every hat instead of building leverage, glorifying the hustle instead of designing sustainability. If you cling to an outdated identity, you will cap your potential. Expansion often feels uncomfortable because it asks you to release what's familiar. Familiar is comforting. Even when you don't really like it that much, it's still familiar. And there's comfort in it. So you have to let go of the I'm just trying to survive mindset, titles or roles that no longer fit your vision, and the need to prove yourself through overworking. All that's got to go. Got to go. At some point, I realized that the habits that helped me survive early on were the same ones keeping me in the rut of not growing, doing every single thing myself, saying yes to everything. When I finally let go of the identity of I have to do it all and I started hiring staff, I remember I was like, how am I going to pay the staff? I'm not going to make enough to pay staff. But then magically, I just started moving into that direction. Everything takes a leap of faith in yourself. And I think self-confidence, self-worth, self-identity is the key to all of this, because you can't be of service to anyone if you're just a mess, right? So you gotta take care of yourself first. Your health, your wealth, your mindset, your relationship, all of it is on you to define and create identity for. Sorry for the bad news today, but I know that you wanted to hear this. I know you needed to be nudged in the direction to make one clear decision today about something that needs to change so that you can start moving your life in the direction you truly want. And this is fitting since today's theme is addition by subtraction. This episode is about letting go. Also, this is my final episode of Agent Inspired on the Agent Power Huddle. And I kind of wanted to end it the same way that we've talked about growth all year. Over the past year of hosting this episode, we've talked about confidence, clarity, resilience, mindset, and building a business that actually supports your life, not just your production. And what I've learned is that growth rarely comes from piling more on. It comes from getting more intentional. If there's one through line through all the episodes that we've shared, it's this: you are the asset. Your energy, your focus, your mindset, your decisions. When you invest in those, everything else follows. If you're heading into a new season or setting goals for your year ahead, I'd encourage you to go back and revisit some of these episodes, not to consume more, but to listen for what you're ready to release now that maybe you weren't ready to hear before. The right message hits differently depending on where you are in your mind and in your cycle of development. And as you step into your next chapter, ask yourself this: what do I need to let go of so the next version of me has room? This may be my last huddle, but the conversations don't stop. Everything we've talked about this year is still here when you need it in the Agent Collective.
If you'd like more information or to get connected to the Agent Power Huddle, join our free Facebook group. This call was designed for the agents in our EXP organization, but open to any agent from any brokerage. If you're a guest and you're interested in learning more about EXP or our specific resources within the Agent Collective, reach out to the person who invited you to this call to get more info. Produced by the Agent Collective Media Network.